Okay, we're live. Let's give everybody a minute to start filtering in. Let's get some links out on Twitter to let everybody know we got some exciting stuff coming.
And are you screen sharing with Discord? Will you?
Oh,
Sure.
yep. Let's go ahead and get that going too. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so you decided you are doing a live stream?
I am doing a live stream.
Oh, so for everyone that's in the chat right now, you're going to want to watch True Demons, everyone in the Discord, you're going to want to watch True Demons screen share and not watch the YouTube because there will be a lag. But feel free to like and share and subscribe and tell like your grandma to subscribe and all of that.
Tell Grandma.
Hey guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining the stream. Wall Street Viking, how you doing, man? I know you got to be excited for this. Still letting some people come in here before we start talking about this because I don't want anybody to miss out on the fun. For those of you who are on YouTube, just to let you know that this stream is also taking place in the Discord, where there's an active discussion going on, and TA and research and DD going on BBIG and many other stocks. So if you're interested in being a part of that conversation, please consider joining Hell's Trading Floor. We've got a healthy number of analysts and very gifted people that have been trading in the stock market for collectively decades, and I have been leaning heavily on their experience, their expertise, and their research, and just generally the awesome vibes that are coming out of the community. So please consider joining Hell's Trading Floor. Our link to our Patreon is in the description of every video, and also in the comments. And you can also check out on my Twitter bio. We've got a link there too. All right. I see some people asking about Progenity. Yes, we can talk about Progenity a little bit later, but we're going to talk about BBIG since we've got a little bit of action going on here, and I want to give everybody the lead on what's been taking place. So let's go ahead and get started. So BBIG is having an absolutely fantastic day, as you can see today. If we move in here, we drew this wedge from the top of their last squeeze where they went to, I would say, about $12, and we've been watching it taper off ever since then. We had a little bit of a pop in late October, mid late October, but it's still been selling off since then until we entered this consolidation wedge most recently, just right here. So now today we see that BBIG is up by what are we currently at right now? What even is BBIG's daily? Let's go move this to the daily chart. So yesterday it moved near the end of the day, and today, yeah, yesterday it moved 23%, and currently we're up by 27, 26%. And more exciting than anything, the RSI has gone damn near vertical, and the OBV is following suit as well. We've seen this kind of technical pattern before. Currently, our squeeze momentum indicator is at the bottom right now, but that is just the beginning. So right now, what we're looking at with BBIG is this has been a predicted short squeeze for a long time. We've been talking about this one for about, I'd say, like 6 months now. Um, yeah, well, like 4 months. So like ever since August is when I got into BBIG originally at around the $6 mark. Sold some of my calls back at the top of this squeeze here in September, but I ended up getting back into half of my position and getting margin called later on in this. As the price collapsed, so that was an extremely unfortunate day for myself and just about every BBIG trader, thanks to their executive rug pull. But all the same, we know what the company is worth. We know about their prospects with Cryptide and the NFT company that they're building around that. So Cryptide is most likely the catalyst for this move that we've had for the last couple of days. So let's take a look and compare the volume candles here. So right now we've got the largest volume pop, the most rapid escalation of volume that we've seen since even before this squeeze. We had a sudden ramp from. Let's go ahead and look at this. I'm still trying to get all my trading view indicators working. How come it doesn't show me the volume when I hover over this? Kat, do you know? Do you know what this? How to get the volume to show up here? I need the actual figures.
Yeah, that little arrow right below the name of the company is that little drop down with the three, the 5. There you go. And then if you hover over the candles, you'll see it right underneath there.
Oh, there it is. Okay, great, fantastic. Okay, so let's see. Looking at BBIG, we went from a 7.5 million to a 238 million volume candle when we got really moving, and this pattern has played out historically multiple times. So I'm gonna mention somebody that has been in the Discord, but also uh, created this chart that I'm currently looking at. It's almost like a backwards fib fan, and it does look a little bit weird, but this is not a traditional chart that we've drawn here. So what we drew, or what this member of the Discord, Logical Chaos, shout out to this individual for noticing this. There's been a series of wedges uh, and cup and handle patterns that have manifested themselves in BBIG, starting all the way back here in April 2019. This is like way back at the beginning, but what we suspect is going on with BBIG is that there is algorithmic trading taking place here. And if you've been a part of this channel and talked to us before, BBIG and other stocks that are heavily shorted or at least heavily manipulated seem to present repeating patterns thanks to the algorithms that are used in order to move their price. So we've talked about this a lot, but all price movements and sell offs that are used by algorithms are designed in such a way so that there are algorithms that compete with each other, but by and large, most of these algorithms, especially used by large hedge funds and market makers, are designed so that they can induce fear and create panic in the market that will move the stock down or up accordingly. So, in these different phases that we witnessed with BBIG and other stocks, this pattern repeats itself uh, over and over again, where it forms this long consolidation, and then it'll get a sudden pop, and then it'll go into another consolidation wedge, which is basically where it will pop once, fall extremely low, and then go into consolidation before it gets a little leap again, and then falls one more time and goes into this long consolidation. This pattern repeated itself in so many consistent ways that when you draw a line from the top of their peaks and then use the support or the resistance from the second hump, it creates this long wedge, and each of them, based on the timeline, all point to this one little area of the chart, and we also drew timelines, a Fibonacci timeline around this. So this timeline starts at the lowest low of January back in 2021 to the top of its squeeze in at the end of January. And before, it was speculated that this stock was just caught up in the meme stock craze, and that was all that it was. So we're going to take a look at Ortex and see if that holds true. While I'm waiting for Ortex to load up, what I'm pointing out here with these wedges is that they seem to fall into this one particular box or this area, and we're going to speculate. Just hear me out. Entertain this speculation here just for a moment. That we have a just a time frame where we expect something. We don't know what, but we expect something to happen. So if we just say that these algorithms are tipping their hat, we don't know if this is like it's most likely not a sign, but just a side effect of what these algorithms do. That at some point these algorithms their patterns repeat so much that they will kind of indicate when large moves are going to come or when significant events are going to arise and things like that. Like this is massively speculative, and there's no way for us to know if this is actually the case or if this is just, I don't know, a joke. Uh, but anyway, I'll go ahead and pull up Ortex here. Let's go see what we can find. Sorry, this thing's so slow. Okay. So let's get rid of the days to cover, and we'll take out the exchange reported short interest just because we'll get a little bit more responsiveness out of this. So BBIG's short interest has been in a steady rise, just nonstop ever since back in, whoops. So we don't know what the short interest was this far back because Ortex wasn't tracking numbers back then. But if we look at the short interest with these loans, they've been in a steady rise, at least the number of loans have. And overall, these shorts seem to come in at the top of the second hump whenever there's going to be a huge move. So at the top of these peaks, that's when the shorts come in and then drive the price down into consolidation, and they'll cover in that. We don't know if that's part of the algorithm, although we could suspect that that might be the case. We can also surmise that maybe retail shorts are getting in and trading around that as well. So what's interesting to me is that the short interest continues to rise as the price is just falling and falling and falling, and then suddenly we'll get a pop, and rather than covering, the shorts double down. So this has been consistently the case in each of these three peaks, or at least these two peaks here. And right now we've got a short interest of 25.5% almost. So that's rather significant. Their float is around 125 million. And at the moment, the short interest is the highest that it's been since the second hump here. And it looks like we're getting ready to surpass that. On loan continues to follow suit. The cost to borrow seems to have reached the same level as it did right before its previous squeeze. It's interesting that it started to rise just before it really took off. Kind of lines up with the short interest that we saw before. So right now our utilization is locked in at 99%, and I'm interested to see what failures to deliver in the threshold list show. Okay, so we are on the threshold list, or we have been very briefly on the threshold list. And failures to deliver are still ridiculously high. Security lending volume spiking like crazy. Dang. Okay. So with each of these squeezes that that BBIG created here, each of them have been growing at a consistent linear rate. So let's draw one more chart here, or one more pattern here. So if our patterns are lining up correctly, and this is indeed the next pop, then it's very possible that we may see BBIG squeeze to the top of this, or maybe even higher, but I'm going to be setting my resistance at around $14, $14.50 at the maximum. If there is going to be a squeeze on BBIG, squeezes are unpredictable. There's no way to know when, if or when this thing is going to pop further. But what I'm looking for right now is for BBIG. It's already made a huge move upward, and we've seen this before with others, with other previous squeezes. It'll pop up and then it'll consolidate for a day or two, maybe up to a full trading week before it makes its second leg upward. You can look back here. It consolidated, made a very sudden move here. But we could compare AMC's charts to this. The bigger the move, the longer they take for the second leg to manifest. That's what we've at least seen. With BBIG's wedges, it's the same here. And I'm not saying that these two equate to each other. I'm not saying that they're going to create the same scenario or anything like that. I'm just saying that I notice the same trends where there's consolidation wedge. It'll make a pop, and once it's ready to make its real move, the huge move, it'll break the resistance of its falling wedge, and it'll consolidate around there for a little while. And the bigger the move is, the longer it takes. So back here, AMC popped and consolidated for about 5 trading days before it made its big move up to $20. Here it popped and then consolidated for almost 2 full trading weeks before it made its big move again. So it's almost like a parabolic line, just like a up, slight wave down, and then back up again in almost vertical fashion. So if we are looking for BBIG to do the same thing, I'm basically expecting for this to calm down here. I do still have some calls in BBIG, but what I've done is I sold most of my calls that were expiring in the near term. So I've gotten rid of all of the BBIG calls that I have currently expiring for this week, and I've sold about half of the ones expiring for next week. And my plan is to wait for this consolidation to finish out and let theta take away some of the value, let the volatility calm down, and then I'll open up additional calls. But in case I'm wrong, I still have some that are in my pocket, and if anything decides to make a move from here, then I'll still be able to catch that rip. But currently, I mean, everybody's doing extremely well with BBIG right now. My personally, my calls were up over 300%, so that's a huge win for everybody, for anybody. And anybody else who's currently looking to get into BBIG, what I would say is that it's made it a very significant move right now. The OBV is starting to turn upward, and if we look at if we look at past charts, let's go all the way back to here, just so that we can see an example. So we see a move like this. If we're speculating on a squeeze, a OBV is extremely helpful for that. If we see a sudden pop where the volume is coming into it and it's significant buying volume, we notice this, like, this is a couple of hours of movement. Let's reduce this down to 4 hours. So in this case, the OBV shot straight up because the squeeze happened in a single move. It was just like within 4 hours. So this one will probably give us a little bit of a better tell. So here we had a small hump in the OBV. The movement happened pretty rapidly. And this would have looked pretty extreme at the time because BBIG's OBV was less than 200 million. And then all of a sudden, after a few days, the move that it made here brought the OBV all the way up by about 40 million. So it looks small here on this chart as we look at the OBV here, but that's because this tail already exists and it's such an extreme move. If we had not seen this, I'm wondering if I can make this all but disappear so that we can only see what's at the very end.
Just a side note, by the way, Verde posted some interesting stuff via Flabbergank and your baby in the film studio chat you might want to see.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll go ahead and open this up here. So this is part of what we're working on in our this is part of what we're working on in the Discord, just for everybody here on YouTube, and also for those of you in the Discord that haven't gotten a chance to see this. We're working on a bot that will track all the numbers that relate to the short squeeze exempt signal theory, or my short squeeze thesis, in order to predict these. And we've got some data that this bot that we've created generates, and it's so far still in beta. We're not ready to release it yet. I don't want to get everybody too hyped up for this, but looking at how these FTDs are moving so rapidly, the December FTDs are just getting ridiculous. And as we have seen with other stocks, especially AMC, Senseonics, GME, a whole bunch of them, SPRT, the FTDs are predictors of huge moves because of market makers failing to control the price of the stock. And we don't know who exactly is moving this stock, but we can suspect that it's most likely a big hedge fund that's trying to take profit off of the catalyst with BBIG, and they are most likely making money on the upside and the downside as well. They make the moves so they can predict when these things are going to happen. They're likely taking advantage of that because they either have access to insider information, just speculation, don't know this, but insider trading is rampant throughout this entire market. So we can at least, I'm at least going to guess that yes, they are in fact playing both sides of this, and they have access to insider information. It's just not outside the realm of possibility. So, like I was saying with the OBV, the move that we see here as BBIG made its first couple of legs, after only 2 trading days, the OBV went from 170 all the way up to 320 million. I'm sorry that I have to like put this right at the very edge, but down there at the lower right hand corner, from 180 million to 320 million. That's a significant move on the OBV. What we're looking for here, we've got a move from, we've got 716 million up to 800 million. So this is a good indicator. It's really good. We're seeing a lot of volume here. We're expecting this to close green today. BBIG has made a significant move in a short period of time. I don't think that this is over yet. This is a lot of volume coming into this, and I'm expecting a lot of volatility. So if we do close red today, then the OBV will go down. If we close green, then it's going to rise. It's just the way the OBV works. It follows based on closing price. If we close green, the OBV will rise. If we close red, even if it's by like 0.01%, then the OBV will go down. So this pop right here is the indicator that we have been waiting for. It's a huge move no matter how you slice it. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm planning to wait until the close of the day. BBIG has calmed down very significantly, and what I am betting on is for a huge move within the next 30 days. So my plan is to wait just before the closing bell before I take some additional calls. I'm going to say 30 days out is giving yourself plenty of wiggle room, anywhere between February 4th to anywhere from next Friday to January 4th is a bit of a gamble. You're increasing the exposure to volatility, but you're also decreasing your amount of theta. So you give yourself you're increasing your risk by doing that. You lower your cost, but you're increasing your risk. So if it doesn't move before then, although I expect it will move as early as February. Well, it could move tomorrow for all I know, but I'm expecting that sometime around this Fibonacci timeline, because it's been very close to accurate, I'm expecting that this fib marker to either mark the top of it or to mark the approach to it. If we end up squeezing earlier, then for all we know, maybe say we squeeze a little bit earlier, just at the end of January, it's possible that this fib marker might mark the end of the squeeze, and then we start to see it fall back down and relax from there. So I'm trading around these Fibonacci timelines just because they've proven so accurate in the past. Since we've gotten this huge volume pop that's now just about equal to the volume increase from this move, and we've now broken our wedge, this is the pattern that we've been waiting for. So I know I've talked a lot. I want to give a few other people in the chat a chance to voice their thoughts. First of all, I want to give Logical Chaos a chance to talk about where he found this, and how he came up with this chart, if he's interested in speaking. So, Logical Chaos, would you care?
Yeah, it's not a problem. Essentially, it came out of boredom. BBIG's been in such a long downtrend for a while, and there's so many smaller wedges on the way down in the most recent wedge that just started zooming out and looking to see what I could find about other wedges and where they would tip and if they actually ran after they got to the end of it. And as just kept expanding and expanding out, you could just start seeing more and more wedges all pointing to the same spot, and it just looked odd. I will have to give credit to another person as well. There's a member in the Discord that brought up another guy that's out there, Extreme Gains, I think it was, that when I had brought this up to him, he had also sent me a video that he caught something on his algorithmic trading show that he was doing, that he saw things similar to this whenever he was doing it as well. So this isn't like just us that saw this and started looking into this. Like, this is starting to get some traction where people are starting to pick up on this thing.
Thanks so much, man. Yeah, this is where retail can get ahead of this kind of a trade if we can spot these types of patterns in algorithms and take advantage of it. Retail moves very slowly, and we often are too late to trades like this. I have been speculating based on, I think that I got into my calls in BBIG in mid-December when we started to see this consolidation start to finally pan out, and then we fell again. So it wasn't so much of a huge move, and I made sure that I set out my time long enough that I felt comfortable staying in the trade no matter what. And it turns out that it worked out. And I know I've been catching a lot of flack from people saying that I I I quit BBIG before, or that I was a paper hands or whatever. I'm going to address it one more time for the last time. I got margin called, and that takes all the options away from somebody. Okay, when you get margin called, that is literally the bank coming to you, clawing your money out of your account and saying you owe us this, and screw you. So for the last time, I did not want to get out of BBIG, and as soon as I settled my accounts and got my money back, I got back into my full position. So I still have all my shares in BBIG. I have calls now. I've sold some of those in order to take profits because they're close to expiring, and now I'm planning to jump back in at the close of the day today. So we've got about 12 minutes left in the day. And at the close of the bell, we'll go ahead and close this stream just because we wanted to make sure that we got this information out there in front of everybody. And hopefully there's some apes, some BBIG investors, people who have been waiting for this pop, this move to happen for a long time. This is the trigger that I've been waiting for. This volume pop right here. And now we've broken resistance, and I am expecting the algorithm to complete its move. So this is me setting my expectations and and trying to create a trading plan around this. When the squeeze, or if the squeeze, I should say, because nothing is ever guaranteed, and please understand that none of this is financial advice. Anything that I say here could absolutely be wrong. I can always be wrong. I do not know the future, and I don't know what's going to happen around this stock. This is strictly for educational purposes so that everybody can learn technical analysis and train themselves around these types of trades. But this is just something to keep an eye on for the future. In any case, this is the move that I've been waiting for, and if this does end up turning out to be true, then I am expecting BBIG to move anywhere from uh, 8 to $14.50, and that there's a lot of wrongness that can happen in between that. So let's everybody please understand and set your expectations, create a trading plan that's right for you. Maintain awareness and cognizance of your risk. Don't bet money that you can't afford to lose. I can't stress that enough. Let's see. I'll give everybody a chance to ask in the Discord about anything else before we move on to Progenity. I know everybody's really eager to hear about Progenity. Occam's Phaser has something. Let's see. Okay, Occam's Phaser mentioned the first wedge showed retracement after the run-up, breakout of pattern using underlying support, and a bounce off the 200-day moving average, the December 26th extended moving average crossover, and then a run-up. So I've got my 50, 100, and 150 EMA here. Let me go ahead and close out this one. Okay. I see. There was a crossover here, so this is what he's referring to, and then suddenly we had a bounce off of the 200 moving average, which I assume was somewhere in this area. This must have been close to where the 200 moving average is, given that this is the 150. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we're crossing above, or we're threatening to cross above the 150 moving average here. So let's see. Oh, sorry, he mentioned the 200 moving average, extended moving average. Sorry, I keep talking to myself trying to work this out. Let's go ahead and adjust this just a little bit. This is a 200 moving average. Yep. Okay, so broke through the 200 moving average, bounced up above, and then took off from there. Okay, so this is what we're looking for based on Occam's mention of the 200 moving average. Extended moving average crosses over and then runs up, and then wedge 3, extended moving average, it retraces. So this is the retracement, bounces off the 200, and then jumps up. And now it's trading below the 200 moving average for the first time. So this is the most extreme dip. I think I'm interpreting what Occam's telling me correctly. I hope so. But what he's mentioning about the 200-day moving average, which is this light blue line here, every time there was a cross beneath it or a bounce off of it is when there was a move that came shortly after. And then what ends up happening with previous retracements is that it will create a bounce up here, which is when you see the first spike in the OBV, and then it'll bounce off of it again before it takes off for its second leg. Let me know if I got that correct. And please feel free to chime in voice, Occam. I want to make sure that I'm interpreting your TA correctly.
No, yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, you got it. I was just trying to identify some patterns, just creating those three wedges. I actually had never thought about looking at it in that way until you just brought this up on stream. But yeah, just in those three wedges, that pattern of it retracing after a run up, it bounces off, it finds support, that underlying about 220, 219 mark, and then it finds the 200 MA, bounces up, does another retracement after that EMA crossover. The only thing different after this wedge 3 is that it's trading below the 200 MA, well below it. And so when it gets up to that 200 MA, I would expect to see pretty strong resistance at that point.
Gotcha.
But a break over that, and that might be clear sailing.
Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and because we're coming up on the close of the day, we've only got 5 minutes in the day, and I want to first complete my trade because now we're going into the close and volatility is low. So I'm going to take this opportunity to go ahead and lock in my trade for BBIG. The way I'm currently playing it is I'm expecting there to be a significant move up in the short term, and now that Occam has given me this TA on the 200-day moving average, I'm going to expect it to reach this point. So I'm betting on somewhere around $5 is where it's going to hit at the peak before it relaxes and consolidates. We may see it in after hours today. We may see it over the course of the next trading week, but I'm going to give myself plenty of time for this to go out. So I'm going to set my expiration for February 4th. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you how to make your trades. I just want to be fully transparent on what I'm doing so that everybody can learn whether my trades are good or bad, and set your own trading strategy around this. If you want to be safer, choosing in the money options or just simply buying shares that have no expiration, you can't diamond hand an option. So if you're looking to diamond hand this thing, make sure that you are choosing to buy shares if you believe that this is a worthwhile investment. So I'm going to go ahead and buy some $5 calls for February 4th. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get my fill at, currently it's trading at 42 cents. I'm going to go ahead and buy a little bit more just so that I make sure I get my fill. And the most that I can afford is 6 calls right now, so I'll go ahead and do that. All right. And I'm sorry for the silence. I cannot talk and I cannot talk and trade at the same time. It seems I'm still working on it. What the hell? I'll sell some of my earlier expiring calls, and I'm going to go ahead and also buy a call spread just to lower my risk a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to buy a call spread as well. And if you're not familiar with vertical spreads, I don't recommend trading them or any option. So if again this still applies here, make sure that you're trading to what you know and stick to what you know. Don't be dangerous with options. That's how you lose money. So please, again, this is not financial advice. I'm just thinking out loud through my trades. Okay, so I've gone ahead and locked in my trades. So I'll update the Discord here in a little while, guys. But what I've done is I've bought some long calls for BBIG, $5, expiring February 4th. And then I've also bought a $4 by $5.50 call spread for February 4th. That's buying a $4 call and selling a $5.50 call for the same expiration, and that's my debit spread. Current fill on that is about 25 cents average cost to me. So if I'm right, then my maximum profit is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 400% what I paid. So around $1.25 is the most that I can get out of that. If I'm right and it goes above $5.50, that's my max profit. So I'm trading around that strategy for the short term. We'll see what happens, and if it continues to run, then I've got some long calls just in case for $5. A nice middle ground between those two strikes, and that's my YOLO bet. That in case this trade does end up running and going absolutely crazy before I think it does, or at all, then I can maximize my gains with that. So I'll go ahead and close with Progenity. And I'm sorry, yes, I know. Please, dear God, Progenity. Let's talk about Progenity. I'm sorry. Oh man. All right. So Progenity is now it's now hit its lowest point at $1.60. This is probably this is probably going to be a really solemn TA for everybody. I can't tell you how many people are just screaming at me every single day about how wrong I am and how I don't know what I'm doing. Got to tell you, if you think that you know what the stock market's going to do and you believe it with absolute like 100% conviction and that you cannot possibly be wrong, then that person's selling you something. Okay, I'm just trying to sell education. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I don't have anything to sell. So let's see. Currently, Progenity is hitting it's currently hitting a line of support here at around $1.60. It's possible we may see it break through, but the OBV is still maintaining its steady pace right here. So if we're looking at this as though it is a Wyckoff pattern, then what we are, let's see if I can actually pull up a Wyckoff chart here just as an example. Okay. So we've got a zone of supply here at around $1.60 down to $1.20. This is our zone of supply, this little rectangle that I've drawn here. Let me actually make this. This is red, zone of supply. So this is, if the price ends up falling down here, then we'll be at the lowest point in the chart since we had our dilution event back in October, on October 4th. So this is a rough pattern here for the Wyckoff. So just a reminder. Essentially, if you were to draw this as a wedge, you would see a long consolidation wedge where we have resistance up here at the LPS marker. This is the latest preliminary support, I think is what that stands for. Last point of support, yeah. So currently from the top of its biggest move, Progenity has been moving down, and we've been waiting for a spring. Essentially, there are Wyckoff patterns that manifest themselves without a spring, where they just create a perfect U, and there's just this consolidation zone here at the bottom. But with us creating a breakdown, it's possible that we're seeing a spring, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Progenity has been so heavily shorted and manipulated that it's really becoming hard to want to predict anything with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and draw some more lines, just some more crayon drawings. Go ahead and give ourselves because what it looks like to me is we're creating a falling wedge here. Yep, falling wedge. So what I'm looking at in the short term is for Progenity to enter into this zone of supply. It's currently bouncing off of the support of this falling wedge here. So this could draw out for as far as March, but at any point this thing could run. As soon as it enters a zone of supply like this, this is the deepest area that Progenity's been. And the last time that it entered into this zone of supply, we saw back-to-back 40% moves in the stock. So it's worthwhile to note that your risk here is about $1.25. So entering here is not is not guaranteed to give you the best price, but we could bounce off of this support here and then move back up into our trading range where we were before, up to as much as $2. But we don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen with this. I'll go ahead and take a look at the short interest on Progenity just to close things out. Oh, I missed the market bell. Ding, ding, ding. All right. So we still got a lot of utilization to work with here. Progenity has a lot of shares that are available to go out on loans. So just because I'd like it, just because I'd like it to move doesn't mean that it will. Progenity has still got a lot of shorts available, or a lot of lendable shares that are available to be borrowed. And we have seen before that Progenity gets shorted very heavily before its big moves. I'm not aware of any potential dilutions or anything of that nature, so I'm not entirely sure what the risk is there as far as dilutions go. But with this being a biotech stock, that's still always a possibility. Biotechs tend to use that as a metric. So we're not on the threshold list. Failures to deliver, still waiting on the report. That's probably going to come in the next couple of days, where we'll get the FTD report and we'll see what our FTDs were for the end of December. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Akam. Really appreciate that. Which chart is this? Is this, oh, this is BBIG. Okay, we'll cover that at the close. So here's our last look at Progenity. There's still, like I said, our utilization has been trending downward for a little while. It looks like shorts may be looking to get out of their positions. If this is Ethereum or one of the other hedge funds that are in Progenity, we might see these moves continue, where it'll continue to trend downward as shorts begin to exit their positions. And this is honestly the ideal point for them to get out, because the short interest, or the shorts on loan, have been falling consistently since 22 million back in around Christmas. So if we're seeing shorts preparing to exit, then it's possible that we may be seeing the next move upward, especially if they have access to insider information. But there's no way to know, there's no way to tell how soon that will be. We just know that what is likely to happen is that when they know that there's going to be a catalyst and a big move upward, we'll see a sudden surge of volume, Progenity will, out of nowhere, just seemingly for no reason at all, will just move by multiple dollars. It'll probably move by 40, 60% or something ridiculous like that. And there's not going to be any news. Nobody's going to know why. But then all of a sudden, sure enough, there's going to be some kind of an announcement a day later. And you know what? Everybody who traded on that insider information, especially that fuckwit Farrell up at Ethereum, he can go screw himself and burn in hell. I'm sorry, I know I'm going to get demonetized for that, but I just can't stand the son of a bitch. Anyway. I can't stand hedge fund managers, especially the crooked, just slimy fucks that sit up at Wall Street. Guys that make their money stealing from people every day. Just, I can't tolerate it. I need to get off of this stream before I go into a rant.
Get them. Get them.
I can't. I don't have time.
We're
all
all
right.
in chat like, yes.
Everybody's egging me on. Well, anyway, I know that everybody's really upset about Progenity just making this sudden move downward. Trust me, we're keeping an eye on it. We're going to keep working on the DD here, but right now the volume is super, super low, so it's not. This move is going to only be temporary. This isn't an indicative of retail selling. It's nothing like that. It's just continuous. It's the same stuff that we've seen before with Progenity. The volume is still like it's super, super, super low. Please look at this volume. Look at how tiny it is. It's so small. Please don't panic. I promise it's going to be okay. We've had like 2 million in the last 4 hours in volume. It's just there's not enough. There's not enough volume here for this to be retail. There's just no way. So we're about to enter into a zone of supply. Just trust and wait for it. This is expensive for shorts to do. What they're waiting for ideal points to exit their positions if they have any lick of sense. There are catalysts coming for Progenity. They are going to announce some clinical data. We don't know when it's going to be, but it could be at any point between now and late March. So just be patient. This is an excellent time to average down your positions. I'm trusting that Progenity is a excellent company that's going to survive this period in its time. It's financially very secure and stable. There's nothing wrong with the company, and they've got 3 excellent products that are coming around the bend very soon. We just have to wait for the data to come through and for those announcements to be made for their partnerships, for whoever their big firm partners are. Whoever it is, whether it's Pfizer, AbbVie, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, whoever the hell it is. So try not to panic. I know that this price action really, really sucks, but this is just the nature of how things move. So we'll just have to be patient. I'm told that BBIG is making moves now. So yes, I definitely want to highlight this chart. Everybody who wants to take a look at this, please feel free to take this chart. I'm posting this up in chat. Occam's Phaser, thank you so much for drawing this up for everybody. This is how everybody can see the moves that we're looking for, just to try to get ahead of what BBIG is doing. But unfortunately, that's all the time that I have for today. I'm going to have to let everybody go early, so go ahead and save this chart and copy it for yourself if you like. And thank you so much for joining. I'll try to get back on to talk about this more here in the near future. Thanks everybody for joining us.